Welcome to This Is Not Legal Advice, where we do our Make It Happen Mondays. Even if it is late, we're still going to make it happen. Um, I apologize for the late release. I was doing my annual reading since my birthday was this past weekend, and I was trying to get a sort of insight for myself on the coming year. So I apologize for that, but we're here now. We're ready to go, and let's go ahead and see what's going to happen for my viewers this week on Make It Happen Mondays. We need a general sense here of what the theme might be. I kind of have a sense of what it might be, but let's just go ahead and take a look. I'm very excited. Excited to announce a lot of things going on. Apparently, you guys got a lot of things going on. Hold on, what a mess! Are you guys in a mess? Are you in like a messy situation in your work life, your love life? Good grief! Anyway, I'm excited to announce I have this cool little video thing I just bought that allows me to see better what I'm doing while I'm doing it, so I can show you the cards with a little more accuracy. Okay, we have the viral, no, there we go. Viral video star is the card. And let us see what the deck says about that. I'm going to go ahead and set it right there. Thank you, Spirit. This is a very specific deck. I don't use it often, but let's take a look and see what it says. It is card number nothing. There's no numbers. But maybe video games are important to you, or actually, by the way, of course, I'm hearing video killed the radio star, so maybe you're a big fan of 80s music or the 80s at large. Yeah, this is, maybe that speaks to you. I don't know, because that's got that old box TV and everything. So let's see. It is viral video star. And here it actually has number 33, which is a fortuitous number. That is page 33. Actually, it's number 33, it's page 40, because why not? It says, picture this. You wake up one morning to find your phone buzzing off the nightstand. Overnight, that video of you falling into a wedding cake or having a deep conversation with a squirrel has gone viral. Congratulations, you are now internet famous. Hope you're ready for your life to become a meme-filled roller coaster ride. It says here, when the viral video star card trends in the upright position, as it is, you're riding the wave of internet stardom. Your inbox is flooded with interview requests, distant relatives are suddenly your biggest fans, and you're fielding offers to promote everything from energy drinks to adult diapers. Sorry, but that sounds kind of Fox Newsy. Anyway, who knew your unique talent for insert embarrassing or amazing feat here would be your ticket to fame? Well, who knew? Somehow the folks at TikTok knew. I don't know. But you know, when I hear this, I hear a couple things. First of all, it speaks of sudden success. So maybe you are working really hard in your career and you're not expecting something to really take off, and suddenly it does, which would be amazing. We'll look at that. And it could also mean, for example, it talked about some of the embarrassing situations that go viral. So perhaps you hit reply all to that email instead of just, I don't know, replying to the one person, or maybe there was a horrific typo that made you look like kind of a goober. But it could also speak, and I don't know why I'm thinking this, but it makes me think of perhaps imbibing, having too much, let's just say, liquid courage on a weekend or a weekday, whatever your case may be, and maybe engaging in some not so flattering behavior. Funny, but maybe not flattering. So those are a couple things I'm seeing here. The last thing I'm seeing is with respect to this distant relatives reaching out. And what I hear when that card comes up is, is this something where perhaps you suddenly come into money or fame or something where, all of a sudden that cousin so and so from so and so once removed decides they want to touch base with you. So just some pointers there. You could be the age of 33, could be age 40, or you could be the combined 73. But that is the theme of our week. So let's go ahead and look and see how that plays out and get some clarification. I'm going to go ahead and start with, from there, really, I'm not starting with it. I'm going to go with our tarot on this. This is the Cozy Witch Tarot deck. Now, it is a very large deck. It's a little unwieldy for me to shuffle, I'm not going to lie. I pre-shuffled, but I'm going to go ahead and try it here. You can see the size differential on that. It's pretty big. So, anywho, I'm going to do my best. So, stay with me here. Bottom of the deck immediately, first thing we see is this Hermit number here, right there. Still getting used to this grammar thing. The Hermit, oh, it's killing me. It's killing me. Boy, I can't get this right. Oh, there we go. See, maybe there's a sense of can't get it right, reply all that jazz. Okay. So your Hermit card is number 9. So again, we're in the month of September, so perhaps this finds you in September and it makes sense to you. Um, it says there are some things that must be done on your own. So the Hermit energy, of course, speaks to kind of going quiet, going silent, and maybe going within. Bottom of the deck, I'm seeing Ace of Pentacles. Get a little better on that. And in that case, it says, wow, what an abundant opportunity. So maybe despite the potential reply all type snafus at work, you still have some opportunities coming your way. What I'd like to start with in terms of tarot is to get some clarification on what is the biggest challenge for my viewers with respect to whatever the issue they're thinking of this week and Make It Happen Monday might be. What is the biggest challenge they're facing? Okay, we have number 13, Broom. Broom says, tidy up your life so you can make space for something better. So perhaps you are moving, literally moving. I mean, this person has boxes and so forth. But the broom, of course, also speaks to generally cleaning up the old, out with the old, in with the new, getting some maybe bad energy out of your life. That could be something you're dealing with or battling with. We also could think of this as, I'm thinking jump the broom for those celebrating African traditions. Maybe your concern is, or your challenge this week is thinking about marriage and maybe a relationship that you have that is maybe not going somewhere that you'd like it to go. Let's see if Spirit can give us some clarification on what that number 13 broom might mean. Now, of course, some people view the number 13 as unlucky. So if you're one of those people, perhaps that is what that means for you. But take it as it resonates. It could be, again, could be a move, could be a relationship. Let's see. Thank you, Spirit, for the clarification. What do we have? We have 10 of Pentacles. And this is a lot of cats. Honestly, this is like a plethora. One might even say 10 cats if one were so inclined. It says, having it all looks different to everyone. And, in terms of a challenge, I think that speaks to the variety of people that I'm talking to in my collective here. So to some people, having it all might be that success we talked about, the virality, the financial success. It could be cleaning out, the home and finding happiness on your own, following with that hermit energy we talked about. It could also be, again, maybe you just want to be solitary and have peace on your own, and that's success for you. It could be buying that house. I don't know why I'm hearing buy that house you want. Maybe it's because the broom combination there. Um, but, what I'm seeing here really is just a real look of peace on the individual's face that's sitting there. And it makes me feel like, again, that particular situation brings her peace. So good for her. Okay, next we have Ace of Wands. So let's take a look at that beautiful card. Now, your wands, of course, are fire energy typically. And by the way, pentacles are your, your earth energy. So that's, maybe you're Capricorn, maybe you're Virgo, maybe you're Taurus. You're into stability. You're into, typically, you're into order and maintaining like an even keel. So that could be important to you too. The Ace of Wands, again, that's a fire card. Your fire is your Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. It says here, don't you see how your passion makes you glow? So this speaks to me of, maybe that wonky thing you did when you were just a little bit buzzed. You might view it as bad or embarrassing or something like that. Ooh, I think I just hit my microphone. Sorry about that. You might have viewed it bad or negatively, but maybe it's a thing that kind of accelerates your career for some reason or your personal life in a way that you weren't expecting. So, even though this is the challenge section here, it could also speak to a potential solution. The other thing I want to talk about is this broom card has the number 13, as we said, which some people consider unlucky. In the traditional tarot deck, if I'm not mistaken, 13 is the devil energy. And I want to take a quick look at that to make sure I'm not misspeaking. Bear with me. I want to be 100% clear on that before I speak, get ahead of myself here. Number 13. No, 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 I'm sorry. It's death. That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry. It's death. You know, death, whatever. Death, the demon, Satan, whatever. But anyway, death is also called the rebirth card. So it's a cycle ending. It's something that you've got to put to bed, get rid of to move on to something better. So perhaps your challenge, again, could be putting behind that old house that you were in, the old job you were in, breaking up with someone, moving out, cleaning up. Maybe you have a, sort of maybe a compulsive, just, situation where you collect too many things. I mean, this person on the card has quite the collection of some of the same little things around here, but maybe is donating some to people who need it more. So these are challenges, but I also see, solutions here. All right, let's see more specifically what is happening with these challenges. How can the viewer overcome them? Now, I just split the deck here, and we've got Eight of Wands. Now, I'm going to show you the card better. Eight of Wands is a card of communication. There we go. Good Lord. It is another fire sign, your wands there. So it could be communication of passion. By the way, it was 11:11 on my timer when I just said that. So maybe that's significant to you. So maybe somebody that is connected to you in a soulmate, twin flame kind of way is communicating with you this week. Maybe that's something that's going to help you feel better about your situation as it may be, whether it's, again, missing someone, feeling left out, whatever the case may be. It says, light a fire underneath your cauldron and go, go, go. So this is a card of making it happen. So perhaps your solution, whatever it may be, is stop stalling, like we saw with the Hermit card. Stop hanging out in your house. Stop, thinking about things, and just do the thing. Analysis paralysis, right? Just do the thing. Let's see, what do we got here? Nine of Pentacles. This is bottom of the deck again. This is wish fulfillment. It says pause and savor the results of your success. Again, particularly, this is particularly speaking to financial success. So maybe you worked really hard at your job, despite some snafus. You're worried about how that's going to turn out, and it seems like it may turn out very well for you this week on Make It Happen Monday. I'm excited for you. But again, we have Pentacle energy, which is typically your career, financial stability, maybe home life stability. So I think what I'm hearing is have faith that whatever these challenges you may encounter are, maybe this energy of behaving foolishly or being worried about money and whether people are taking advantage of you, it's still going to work out in your favor. So just have faith is what I'm hearing. Have faith in whatever it is you have faith in. All right, let's get a formal couple cards on what actions my viewers can take to mitigate or deal with these challenges. What actions can they take, Spirit? Thank you again for watching. This is not legal advice. I would appreciate a like, subscribe, and share. Some kind of fun comment. I've heard comments from a lot of people about liking my blue nail polish I was wearing before. I got the red on today. I was feeling kind of sassy. So, vote red or blue. Drop a comment. I mean, I may not, change my nail polish because of it, but I'm interested to hear what you think. All right. What can my viewer do in terms of actions to help relieve these challenges? All right. So again, the fact that took as long as it did makes me think you're, again, stuck in that hermit energy of, I'm really thinking about it. What do I do? What do I do? Well, we're going to see what you're going to do, what you can do. Oh, look at that. We got the hermit again. So maybe for some of you, you need to stay in that hermit energy. Maybe some of you need some more time to let things stew and brew. So, the universe kind of laughing at me with that one. You're saying, hey, get out of this hermit energy. And the universe is like, no, maybe they need to stay in the hermit energy. So what do I know? Here we are. Number 9. Again, maybe that's lucky for you. Maybe you're a life past 9. I'm called to say that. All right, let's see. What else can the viewer do? Oh, wow. Well, you could jump off a table. Apparently that's helpful. We also have 6 of Wands. It says you're kind of a big deal, so start acting like it. This is, again, having confidence. Traditionally, 6 in the normal tarot or the Rider-Waite tarot is coming in with victory, like you've had a battle, you've been through this, you've been through the fire, you've been through the struggle, and you're coming in with a moment of celebration. So if you've gotten that success that you were worried about, maybe wasn't coming, that 9 of Pentacles we talked about, it finally came in. Maybe what you need to do is, and I'm not suggesting you do what you want to do, take it how it resonates, but This particular card says to me, take a moment and savor that. Let the stress drop for just a moment, and then take a breath, and maybe you can you can just enjoy your life, thrive a little bit more in other areas of your life beyond just perhaps work. I want to pick up the card off the floor. Oh goodness, there's 2 cards on the floor. Look at that. 2 cards. Now, this is great because we have the 9 of Cups. The 9 of Cups is similar to our 9 of Pentacles that we just had, which was that wish fulfillment. But the wish fulfillment in the 9 of Pentacles deals with money. The wish fulfillment in the 9 of Cups talks about love. And it could be romantic love, familial love, could be anything. But it's fulfillment in that sense, or at least getting close to that fulfillment. And it says here, live in a constant state of gratitude. So I was just talking about that, didn't I? I feel like I just said that. Maybe I thought it, but didn't I say, take a moment and breathe and observe and enjoy, and maybe be thankful for the success that you've had that you weren't expecting. Again, maybe I just thought that, but it's in line with what we were just talking about here. Also of interest, we've got 9-9, some doubles there. We've got 6-9 here, 96. Maybe 96 is significant to you. You were born in 96. You were born in 69. Maybe your June 9th is your birthday, or September 6th, or September 9th. Just a few ideas there. Or September 13th, September 10th, 10-9, 1-9, January 6th. Not a great number historically here. But anyway, so just some ideas for you to look at that a little differently. The next card that fell on the floor, and kind of appropriate given the card that it is, it's 0, which in, again, traditional tarot is the Fool. And the Fool is someone who is taking sort of a leap of faith off of a cliff. And normally it's a dog kind of holding it back, but in this card, because it's a witch-based thing, it's a cat. But again, it's talking to me. It says to me, maybe you need to take a moment to think, or maybe you need to, by contrast, take the leap. Go get the new job. Go, enjoy your success. Go shopping. Spend time relaxing by a beach with your golden retriever if you have one. I think it's a golden. It might be yellow lab. I'm sure somebody will correct me in the comments. Bottom of the deck energy. I just want to get a quick look at that for whatever reason it feels right. The patient witch. Look at that, number 12. Okay. It says, learn to get comfortable with sitting still whenever necessary. Now that sometimes is a challenge. I've heard that in yoga, which I've been doing for years. The term, I think it's the savasana pose, which is the corpse pose. The meditative pose at the end of a session is the most challenging pose for many people because they can't just sit in stillness. So this card says to me, maybe that's your time to just take a breath. That could be that hermit energy coming back to us. It could be the breath between the kind of retreating into your own, figuring out what to do, patiently waiting to come to a solution, or taking the leap. Do you need to be patient? If you're waiting for someone, perhaps we talked about the broom in terms of love and marriage, and maybe waiting on that. Maybe the person you're waiting on is coming around the corner. You don't know, but just be patient. Sometimes things take time, and love that is meant to be will always find a way, and life will always find a way. We learned that from Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park, but that's a whole different problem. We're talking about life, not dinosaurs, just to be exceptionally clear. Number 12 is, again, in the deck, we're talking about major arcana here. That is going to be your hanged man. And that explains, of course, the picture. The hanged man is an energy of waiting. It's an energy of for lack of a better term, just kind of hanging out. It goes hand in hand with this hermit. But in order to get to that 13 we talked about, that over here, in order to get to 13, which is that death card, the end of the old, beginning of the new, sometimes you have to be patient and hang out and wait for a minute. You are moving through the cycle. So I think the advice from Spirit here in terms of the challenges you're facing this week would be, do what's right for you. If you need to take a moment, think through things some more before you make a decision, that's fine. But on the other hand, don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Don't don't hesitate to take the leap, is what I'm hearing. Don't hesitate to, um, if you have a goal in mind that maybe takes time, understand that your taking of the leap might be being patient for it, might be patiently waiting for that. And that's okay too. So let's find out if there is any advice that Spirit wants to give before we move on to our next cards. Any advice, Spirit, on what the viewer can do to get to this? What can we do to make the most of this week on this Make It Happen Monday? What can the viewer do? We talked about how the viewer, you all can maybe work past these challenges, but let's just see if there's anything else. Anything else? Just last chance. Last chance. And again, nothing further. So, again, it's not legal advice, but from a legal perspective, I would say nothing further, Your Honor. Let's go to the outcome. What is the potential outcome here, Spirit? What is the potential outcome? Of course, outcomes are flexible. And this reading is being done end of September. So don't forget to prepare to wake up Green Day, as it is almost October. So somebody needs to do that. And I'll link that song in this video in case you don't know what I'm talking about there. Showing my age a little bit. But that's okay. What is the potential outcome? Well, see the amount of time it's taking. Maybe it's a work in progress. Maybe it's not something that's going to come to a solution this week. Maybe it's something that requires patience, a little more thinking. Yep, okay. There we go. It's Five of Wands, but it's coming up in the reverse, and I was not trying to read the reverse, but I obviously did not have much of a choice there. So I'll do that. I'm going to flip it around so you can see, viewer, what it normally looks like in this deck. And what it says here, Five Wands, a good coven lets every witch have a say. Now, again, it's in reverse. So what I'm hearing is enough comments from the peanut gallery. And it's almost like, again, Five of Wands energy, just typically speaking, and again, we have more fire energy here, so really heavy on thoughts and feelings in terms of passions, but not so much love. It's not a very love heavy reading. Sorry, guys. If you're looking, Nook and Panav, this is not the one for you necessarily. We'll see. But in Five of Wands energy, it's about fighting for something. In this deck, it appears that they're using it more of like a collaborative effort, but maybe you can be too collaborative, a little too collaborative. Maybe that collaboration, is stopping you from, taking that leap. And the outcome is you need to go within a little bit and stop taking advice from people who may not have your best interest at heart. That goes back again to that, that distant family member who found out you came into money, right? Maybe what you want in your heart. Your intuition is telling you, for example, maybe there's somebody that you love and you want to move forward with. Maybe there's something that's saying that, on the other hand, there's a relationship you want to end. I'm hearing, no judgment from me either way. I'm not suggesting the answer here, but what I am hearing is there's a lot of times where people stay in long-term committed relationships, sometimes marriages, domestic partnerships, what have you, way longer, way past the expiration date than they should, from a mental health perspective or a spiritual health perspective, a developmental perspective. And they do it because of societal expectations, or because they have family or friends around them telling them, oh, you got to do that. You got married to this person, stick it out, deal with it, work through it. And only what's right for you and what makes sense for your situation. And sometimes that means, peacefully exiting and making the best of a bad situation. Maybe just throwing it out there. I don't know why it just came to me, but so maybe you need to stop listening to those around you. Maybe the naysayers who are telling you can't be a viral video star, you can't achieve, you can't get that job you want really bad, or what have you. Maybe you should wait more and think about it more. Maybe those people need to just pipe down. Okay, I'm pretty sure that this is going to be in reverse. Let's check it out. It is. It's King of Swords right here. That is I believe our first, if I'm not mistaken, yes, it is our first air energy. That is our Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. So maybe the first time that there's, I don't want to say the first time there's thought, because I don't mean to suggest that there's not thought here, but the air signs are the signs most tied to the intellectual aspect of certain decision making processes, rather than following their hearts like the cups might, or following their passions like the wands might, or following practical considerations like the pentacles might, but or the the earth signs might. But this is an energy of thought, and it says here we can all learn important things from one another. But again, this was in reverse. So typically your king of swords is somebody who knows what he wants, she wants, whatever you may be. It's just energy, it's not meant to be actual gender. That person knows what that person wants. This in the opposite says to me, you're still not sure what you want. And the specific language on this card about learning things from one another um, goes right here with this Five of Wands. This is exactly that. Maybe you're getting too much input from others. Maybe you need to, again, follow what you feel is right, what you feel best serves your interest this week. Maybe this week, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, folks, this week looks a bit challenging. It could be challenging in all aspects. That when I was shuffling the cards at the very beginning, it was a hot mess. And maybe there's just a hot mess all around you. Maybe it's a hot mess in your career and your home, with your kids, with your extended family. It just could be a hot mess all around. But I think this is a head over heart sort of energy, in the sense of like, use your own mind. What I'm hearing is use your own mind. I'm not saying like, oh, discard love. What I'm saying is use your own discernment, and not necessarily relying on those around you for guidance. So I'm going to go ahead. I got called for the bottom of the deck here. This is Knight of Wands. Says sometimes you have to be willing to bend the rules a little. Now, again, while this is not legal advice, I would generally not suggest frequent bending of the rules. That's how people end up in prison and whatnot. But this person looks as if she is sneaking in somewhere. I'm hoping it's like back into his whatever dorm after a great night out. I'm hoping that's something fun there. I'm hoping, or maybe she's like sneaking a fox into the room, and she's not supposed to have animals. I don't know. But again, we have more fire energy. Your Knight of Wands is somebody who's charging in, perhaps a little brashly, a little bull in a china shop sort of way. And that might tie in here. So yeah, while we're saying maybe focus on what you want, what you need, how you feel about things, don't act brashly just for the sake of acting brashly, because maybe you're tired of waiting, you're tired of just thinking about it all the time, you're tired of listening to everybody else, you just want to do the thing. I think this is saying, yeah, okay, you can do the thing, don't get too crazy, break the rules, do it your way. I just heard have it your way. Maybe somebody has a connection to Burger King for some reason. I know it sounds odd, but whatever. My channel, ha. But I'm also hearing, of course, the My Way song by Frank Sinatra, which is, I'm sure he's not the original person who wrote it, but that's the most common version. I'll link that as well, that people are familiar with. And it's often used by some people who, their version of My Way is more of a my way or the highway, rude, not positive, sort of self-centered way. But I don't think that's what this is talking about. Anyway, I'm off on a tangent. Let's go ahead and grab our last card here, if Spirit is so inclined to give us one more on the potential outcome. So anyway, in terms of potential outcome, it looks like you might be taking a risk. Maybe not full-on fool, not pitying fools. Get that reference? That's awesome. But maybe just a little bit of a risk. Dipping your toe, I'm hearing, in the risk pool. At least maybe to you it doesn't seem risky, but to the people around you, might seem really risky. All right, anything else in potential outcome here? All right, one more, and that is it. It is justice. Now, this is the Libra card. Thank you very much. I have to give it up. It's Libra season, so yay. It is also the number 11. So it's more air energy. And 11, of course, goes back to love, and it could be, again, soulmates, twin flames, which we were talking about with the 6 and the 9 here. Do with that what you will. But, you know, we've got that next to our our Knight of Wands, so maybe taking that chance to see something through is what I'm hearing, making a move toward, maybe this is a new career endeavor here. Maybe you felt like you weren't treated fairly at whatever job you were working at, and you want to take a chance on something else. We've got two kind of, we got a typewriter here and we've got a laptop, and it seems like maybe you have a passion for writing, whether that's creative writing, you've always wanted to write your own book, maybe you have some other kind of passion for that, and other things are holding you back, whether that's um, again the relationship that's holding you back, or you're just delaying because you're nervous, you don't know whether to do it. People in your life might be telling you, oh, that's silly, everybody wants to write a book, you're not actually going to do it. Like, this could be your indication that, hey, maybe that is time for me. Maybe it's not fair. Justice for me is, in my favorite words, but that's not fair. That's not fair. The reality is life's not fair, at least, from some perspectives. It doesn't always work out the way that you want it to work out, but that's okay. I believe the outcome is whatever you make it, but I also believe the outcome is always in furtherance of your best interest, whether, again, you see it or not at the time. So, in terms of an outcome, I see you taking a chance to do what is fair and right for you. Long story short, lots of stuff going on. Personal life, business life, maybe a move. You've got some thoughts here. Do you stay? Do you listen to people? Maybe don't listen to everybody. Maybe you've heard enough from people. Again, looking back at this with the 9 of Cups, a lot of empty cups there. Maybe you had people over. Maybe it's symbolic to you. I had people over at my house, and we all talked about this issue and try to figure out what to do. And you're getting to a point where you're like, I got to take my own cup, my own light here, and go do the thing that is fair and right for me in my mind. So that is our outcome on that. Now, what I'd like to do is get just a couple oracle cards on, um, some thoughts. I mean, this is a deck that kind of has a little bit of everything in it. So we'll take a look and see. So, Spirit, moving on. Look at that, sweet Lord. Did I not just talk about relocation and moving houses? Closure. Goodbye. I mean, this is a deck of, I think it's like 80 cards, but this is what popped out. You just saw it. So maybe that is your focus. You're moving on. But this person, like, again, by contrast, this person here looks a little sad about it. This person here is like ready to go. So maybe there's a shift that you can have here. Maybe you're feeling sad right now, but at the end, the moving on is the best thing for you. This is the death. Maybe this is your rebirth. Okay. Moving on. Okay. So moving on. Let's see what else we got here, Spirit. What else you got for us? What do you got for my viewers, Spirit? What else do we have? Again, thank you so much for joining me. It costs nothing to drop a like. Costs nothing to watch. Well, I mean, except for time. And time is fleeting, so I've just defeated my own argument. But anyway, I'm glad that you're here. And I hope you're enjoying the reading, and I really hope the best for you as this week, whichever week you're watching it in, unfolds. I have great faith that you will use your discernment and take the steps that are right for you. Because at the end of the day, you got to sleep in your own mind, which sounds weird, but it happens. All right, what else we got? My goodness. All right, we're just going to take let's say we're going to take the top, but I can't get this situated. Okay. Eyes, mesmerized. Okay. Now, maybe blue eyes are significant to you for some reason, but we also have the Hermit. Now, I didn't talk about this earlier, but the Hermit has I think it's a divination. It's a divination tool here to try to find out yes, no kind of answers, from how the it moves. So somebody who's in hermit mode, trying to decide what to do. And blue eyes historically have had some significance in terms of, like, I've got my evil eye candle here, for example, and I'll drop a link for that. But it's, the evil eye protection is typically a blue eye. So, to me, maybe you feel like you are mesmerized, or I dare I say it, hypnotized by something that is holding you back. Maybe some, I don't want to say bad juju, but just somebody who, again, is giving you bad advice, or giving you advice that isn't in your best interest. Maybe, I hate to say for devious purposes, but it could be. So maybe you want to consider, looking, sorry. Maybe you want to consider whether you need to really think about who's around you, and spiritually speaking, ask for protection from whatever source you believe in. Again, I am not pushing either way, but it can't ever hurt to have too much good, I feel, asking for protection. There we go. Thank you, Spirit. All right, we've got lies, deception, and secrecy. What did we just talk about there? Lies, deception, secrecy. Now, this can go a couple ways. It could be, again, this is somebody around you who's giving you bad advice, whether intentionally or otherwise. It could be, again, we got a fox here. Another fox. Didn't we just have a fox? We had a fox. Oh, I said it was the fox. She looked like she was sneaking in a fox here. Huh. Anyway, Trojan fox. Somebody who, maybe is sly, isn't showing their full hand. Again, maybe doesn't have best interests at heart, but is kind of sneaky. Now, I want to also point out, when I first saw this, the moon, the crescent moon there, was kind of blocking the I in lies. And so first I thought it said les déceptions. And so maybe French is important to you. Maybe you are French yourself, or you studied French, or it has some significance in your life right now. But les déceptions here is again, perhaps someone who's intentionally hiding it from you. Maybe, and I'm getting, for some reason, somebody stole a letter. Like, maybe you had transmitted some communication. Maybe you sent that report, like that key report for your job. Instead of reply all, you thought you replied, or you put it in drafts, you sent it to the wrong person, and that person sabotaged it, or withheld the message for some reason. Maybe you want to send a message to someone you care about, but you're nervous, or someone, again, around you is telling you, don't do it, don't send the message. You can't do that. So take it as it resonates, but I think it's very consistent when we talk about our foxes. I mean, you all see this, right? I mean, I really am not that talented in terms of shuffling that I could come up with something intentionally like that. All right, let's see what else we got, Spirit. What else we got? Before we move on, see, I just said before we move on, and cards are just trying to jump out at me to stop me. Okay, before we move on, under the lies and deception card, I notice again in this cozy witch, this is our Fool energy. The witch she's looking, I can't get this right. She's looking at herself in the mirror, in theory, right? But look at how her face in the real world is turned versus how the face appears in the mirror. And it says to me, it just spoke to me, Spirit, I guess, spoke to me, that maybe someone is kind of two-faced. That's one way I'm hearing it. It could also be that the way you see yourself is not how everybody else sees you. So maybe you look in the mirror and you see, like, oh, okay, I'm okay, but in real world, like, you're even sassier than that. You're presenting to other people, and maybe those people want to take you down. I don't know. All right. Ooh, we got so many cards. Okay, I'm just gonna let them fall, and then enough. All right, so let's see. Falling for you. That's, we are in autumn, so we'll leave that with that. Also, maybe check your chairs. All right, maybe check your chairs. I'm also hearing Inception. If you all watched Inception, and that's how at the beginning Leonardo DiCaprio is woken up by, having his, chair pulled out from under him and tripping a little bit. And that, that jerk woke him up. And So I'm thinking maybe there's something here that needs to happen that wakes you up. So even though that's not what the card says, that's how I'm seeing it. So maybe you're falling for somebody. Maybe you want to fall for somebody. Maybe you want to let yourself fall into love. Maybe you just like sitting in fields while leaves blow at you. Not here in this state where I live, but it could happen. Dream big. I mean, I don't know that, a paper airplane is really dreaming big, but maybe for some people. Um, Dream big. Write the book, do the thing. Don't let anybody hold you down. Don't let the man hold you down or the woman or whatever. All right, we have masculine energy. Ooh, I don't know. Maybe you've got tall, dark, and handsome on your mind. Um, and your friends and family are telling you he's no good for you. But you want to take the chance in love. Maybe you want to um, embrace that. And maybe that is your fantasy. Maybe your fantasy is not writing a book. Maybe it's, I'll just leave it at that. Okay, we have this bunny. It says, let it go, release, don't look back. Um, couple of things. First of all, whenever I see a rabbit, I always think of like killing the rabbit, which was an old term for pregnancy. So maybe you're somebody, and I'm really sad if this is for you. I'm sorry. Maybe you're somebody who dreamed of having a family or pregnancy, and I'm saying this as nicely as I can, but maybe like that's just not something that has panned out for you, and you're ready to release it and move on to something different. Um, and again, I'm not trying to be cruel, and I'm sad if that's the case for you. Um, but I think we go back to our death energy. Maybe we got to clean out that concept. Maybe what we thought we expected and needed in life was a family, but in real life that's not what it is. But again, this bunny is moving forward. Don't look back. Which I'm hearing, don't look back in anger. A little oasis for you. That means something. Um, I'm also thinking of one of my favorite myths, which is Orpheus and Eurydice, where they're told to not that Orpheus could lead Eurydice out of Hades, but he could not look back at her until they got to the surface. And at the last moment, he does, and he loses her forever. And I always felt like one of the lessons of that myth was, to some extent, have faith, have faith and trust that the person you care about is there with you, um, and trust when the universe is guiding you with that person to do something. Have faith. And so when you're feeling something in your gut, people can be telling you no. Inside. The overall message is inside what you want. Inside what's best for you. Other people may be giving you different advice for any number of reasons, whether it's intentional, whether it's out of jealousy, whether you're in some freakish dream world directed by Christopher Nolan. But I'm hearing, have faith. Don't look back. You got this. So take it as it resonates for you. And this is a happy card. Look at these three little mice. Time to celebrate. Definitely a Three of Cups energy. We got this guy over here double fisting. So again, that goes back to the very beginning here. A very good place to start. When we talked about maybe you got a little tipsy, did or said something that you didn't necessarily mean to do, and now you're internet famous. I don't know. Toxic behavior, control, manipulation, obsession. And look at that. It is going right on top here. I'm trying to make it nice and orderly, but it's right on top of our lies, deception, and secrecy. So this is another warning. I'm hearing warning here. Warning, somebody may not have your best interest at heart. See that? At heart. Best interest at heart. Take it as it resonates. But there are snakes in the grass. And unfortunately, sometimes they're the people we love the most. Twin flame journey. Are you kidding? Okay. How many times did I say that? I said 11, twin flame. 69, 96, twin flame. I swear I spoke about this. I'm not going to get into the argument about what it is, what it isn't, but if you're on it, you know. And that speaks to the runner chaser energy. And, a lot of times people on the twin flame journey are in relationships that might appear toxic, to those on the outside, but it's a different journey, and it's a journey of self-growth and exploration. And so maybe your friends and family are telling you, you can't go back to this relationship. You can't do that. And I'm not saying, I want to be super clear. When I say toxic, I mean maybe it's not immediately beneficial to you on the outside, or maybe meeting societal standards of what a relationship should be. I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that you should tolerate any form of abuse, because apparently we have to spell these things on YouTube. So I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is follow your intuition, trust the journey. And last, we have working on it, planning. So maybe you're somebody who is trusting, and you're planning. You're planning your return. You're planning your next move. It seems right now you're holding still. You're being patient. You're in your quiet zone, but you're planning. And one might even say like stewing, brewing, plotting. Thank you, Spirit. Let's get some more here. I want to talk about love specifically. Just a couple of these, because I know everybody always wants to know what's going on in love this week. Sorry that. Well, hope you're enjoying the reading, being as long as it is. I did not intend to go this long. I've had a long day, as we all have, and I really had hoped to just give you something quick, but I'd rather do it right than do it fast. So anyway, let's find out if there's something in love that Spirit wants to say to you. And I suspect so, because we've got this twin flame journey and all of this. Decision. It is time to decide about this relationship. Holy cow. Decision. Make your own decision. I swear, we just talked about all this. Make your own decision. It's time to decide. I'm looking at bottom of the deck. I'm being told bottom of the deck. Go slow. Take time to get to know each other. Okay, makes sense. That's that patience. It goes right in line with that be patient card. I'll say less. I think it says to me, okay, I said I was going to say less, but I didn't. It says, yes, go slow, but don't go slow to the point that you give up on what you really want. Don't go so slow that you have to have like time-lapse photography to watch a flower bloom over the course of 9 years. I don't know why I said 9 years. Maybe that's significant. All right. Lesson. The person is in your life to teach you a spiritual lesson, which is very on par with a twin flame journey, which isn't always about the love, the physical romantic love, although that can be awesome possum. It is more about your personal growth, your own development. And yeah, sometimes, meeting the person that is on that journey with you can really trigger a lesson, can help you in that way. And you know what? It's not always easy. It's challenging. It may be, like I said, something that appears toxic that your friends and family are telling you don't do that, but doesn't mean it's not an important lesson or right for you. Again, trust your own intuition. And by the way, the fact that we have the masculine energy with the twin flame journey, that's very indicative of that. Maybe it means you got to balance out that masculine energy, which is an energy of do, plan, act, versus, sort of the feminine energy, which is kind of like go with your intuition, go with your heart, let it come to you, have faith that things are going to work out. We're working on it. It's going to work out. Anyway, chemistry. The attraction you feel is mutual. So if there's somebody that you are thinking about in a relationship that maybe has gone slow to the point of complete stagnation, just know that if you are worried that this person doesn't feel the same about you that you feel about them, that is not the case. So have faith. I'm hearing have faith. All right, now what I'm going to do is a little bit different. I have a deck here that has sort of a yes-no tone to it. You'll see it because it'll say yes or no. I don't know what your question is going to be, so this is kind of a blind reading. But viewer, I would ask you to think in your mind, obviously, or your heart, I guess, feel in your heart, what is it that you should do? Because I'm getting a sense that there's a lot of tough choices for you this week, but I have faith you're going to make it happen. But take that thought, that decision that you're considering, and ask the question, in a yes or no fashion. Is the thing I'm thinking of, whatever it is the thing I want, the goal I have, the person I want to talk to, is that going to happen? And if you're ready, I'm going to go ahead and flip it. Let's see. Maybe. Oh, great answer. We love that. More information is needed. Important details are missing. Seek out additional information. I'm hearing do your research, but don't get too caught up. Maybe. Let's see if we got another answer on that. Spirit, are you sure? Are you sure? Maybe is the answer. We like a little more certainty. Just a little more. I mean, we got so much energy here of being on the fence. Can we get a little more clarity? Okay, I'll ask this next question for you. If you'll allow me, collective, and you're here, so I'm assuming you will. If the person in mind is questioning whether they should leave their job, if they're seriously considering switching careers or leaving the current job they're in, Spirit, what is the advice? If they're on the fence, again, do what you want, take what resonates with you, but maybe it's a little advice that is different from whatever your friends and family are telling you. All right, what is the advice? Yes, your direction is clear. You're on the right track. Move forward with confidence. So fulfill that dream. Go after the thing you want. There you go. The next question I'm going to ask is with respect to love specifically, because this was career. Spirit, the person that my viewer is thinking of this week, will the person that this person is thinking of, no, I got to think about this better. Will there be some kind of decision, either by my viewer or the person on their mind, about the relationship or potential relationship this week? Will there be some kind of decision on either end this week? All right, here we go. All right. No, out in the cold. This path would take you farther from the warmth you seek. So there's not a decision. So I think what I'm hearing is if you're trying to rush either your own decision or push the person that you care about to make a decision or you're thinking of, it's not gonna be a good outcome that you're seeking, that you're gonna get here. If you're pushing, again, here we were talking about like commitment, potentially jump in the broom, marriage idea. If you're like, hey, marry me or else, this is probably not your week. Think about it. Think carefully about it, but be patient. Just give it a minute. Your friends and family might be telling you like, oh, well, they haven't married you by now. You should dump them. Put that aside. Do what's right for you. And if for whatever reason you feel it's right to push the situation, do that. But just know that the universe is saying maybe not. Same thing if you feel like I don't know, I can't put up with this anymore. I should break up with this person. I'm over it. I'm just going to shut down. I don't think that's necessarily it either. I think it says you're taking you further from the warmth that you seek. So I think that if you're the one making a decision, I think what you really want is that love from the person you're thinking about. And but that can be a double-edged sword, right? It can be painful to feel like you're being left out in the cold, to feel like you're being, again, this is very Five of Pentacles energy in the traditional tarot. If you think that being out in the cold is terrible, you feel like they're ignoring you, feel like maybe they don't care. I mean, again, the attraction is mutual. We heard about that. We heard of all these things. They care. Be patient. It's so easy. It's so much easier sometimes to cut something off because we can't handle the unknown, and walk away from something we really want. So while you may feel like you're out in the cold, you feel like you don't know what's going on with this person, people are telling you should do this or that, I would read this card as saying keep an open mind, be patient, don't rush to a decision that would include just completely cutting this person off. So it goes both ways, right? Don't push necessarily, is what I'm hearing, for a decision, but also don't just make the decision because you can't stand being in a state of unknowing. Sometimes we need that moment, um, that hermit moment, to really take a deep breath and think about what is it we need for us. Can we be grateful, for what we have in love? Can we trust and have faith? And all I'm hearing is trust, have faith, believe, um, be patient. The things that you want, can come to you, but maybe not this week. So, that being said, this is your Make It Happen Monday. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do like, subscribe, and share. And I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday for Work It Wednesday. Have a great day, everybody.